Thank you all. It is so good to be with you. And Todd, congratulations on your leadership in Montgomery. You've poured yourself into it. It's my observation, told Sandy Stimson this in Mobile, a great mayor can really make a difference. And you've been a great mayor, and you really made a difference for Montgomery, and I know everybody appreciates it. It's good to be back here. It's sort of my second home. The city has meant so much to Mary and me. We now in Mobile, but our ties to the capital city remain strong. We lived here for 5 years, 4 at Huntington, and then married after Huntington. And when we taught 1 year each in the Montgomery school system, public city schools have been important to me and our children. And the city has meant much to me. So many of you have been supporters and friends and people who've affirmed me in the work that I have done over the years. We lived in Mobile, as I said, and our children participate in public education, and I salute the city or the chamber for its work in that regard. Of course, Mary's middle name is Montgomery, and she was born on College Street, and it was an exciting time to have her be the sponsor for the LCS Montgomery. We grew up out from Camden, Alabama, and read the Montgomery Advertiser and Channel 12. That's the only station we could get. We were so far out in the country, and so I really feel an affection for an orientation here. We'd walk down in the evening. We'd take a walk sometimes after dinner down Thomas Avenue and wonder what it would be like to even go in one of those homes, you know, on Thomas Avenue. And then Justice Will and Lee Sellers had a reception for me there, and some others have too, so it's pretty long distance from somebody in the country in Alabama, I got to say. And I am proud of Governor Kay Ivey and her big election, our star from Camden. She loves this state and works hard for it every day, and now she's got former Congressman Joe Bonner is one of her staff people. He'll do a great job, and I was honored and pleased to spend 12 years with Joe's sister Judy, who became provost and president at the University of Alabama, and now provost at Mississippi State. Judge Price, thank you for your leadership. You've been a leader for this area for decades, and we appreciate that. You have a great legislative delegation, as you all, I'm sure, know. Senator Shelby now chairs the Appropriations Committee of the United States Senate, and what a particularly important job that is, probably the most important job in the Senate. No money clears the Congress without his review. Mike Rogers is now the ranking member on the Homeland Security Committee. That's the number 2 person, the leader of the Republicans on that committee. And of course, Martha Roby and Terry Sewell are just dynamos, and they've all worked hard on the F-35 project, and we're proud of that for sure and celebrate it, as I know you all do. And I have to say, of many things that have happened to me, getting to know Bishop Lawson Bryan and Cheryl is one of the best. They have been so supportive. I've had a few ups and downs in the last 2 years, and every now and then it's good to know your bishop is praying for you, sending you messages. And I got to tell you, Lawson, thank you so much for you and Cheryl's support. I mean, regularly basis. They've stayed in touch with me. So I'm very proud of the leadership of this chamber, the strong focus you put on education. Good schools are so important. It takes people like you to make things happen so often. The experience teaches us that progress in education can be made. You can make things better, but it's not easy and it's not an overnight thing. Based on my 1 year's experience as a teacher, I can tell you, anybody thinks that's an easy job, hadn't done it. I'll just say that. And children have so much on them today. So many distractions. Schools have laws, regulations, lawsuits, budget issues to deal with every day. They feel the consequences of broken homes. church, family, personal discipline, and a culture favoring education and respect for teachers is just not strong enough today. And we need to do better about that as a citizenry. But we do know that over time, good school policies can produce better results. And that's the most important thing, and I'm proud of what you're doing. And certainly, it is a national imperative to get far more of our people, especially young people, trained and working at increasing wages. I've been extremely proud of Alabama's workforce initiative, its development program. It's a model for the nation. We need to celebrate it and continue to exploit it and make it even better. And on the Make America Great Again front, I'll cite these words from Friday's Wall Street Journal. Wage growth matched the highest rate in nearly a decade, and unemployment held at its lowest rate in nearly half a century at 3.7%. This is the lowest rate since 1969. That's when Mary and I married, 1969, 50 years August. And as Mary says often, and to the same man, I've been married all these people. So the article notes that wages at senior care facilities are rising, but that revenue is rising robustly for them. A spokesperson commented, "We are offering more training and flexible work schedules and are recruiting older workers who finish careers but aren't ready to retire." The article notes an increased hiring of persons with prior convictions. All these are good things. It's good for America to get more people working. Our workforce participation rate is still too low, but there is talent out there yet. The country is benefited when more talented people are out working, producing something for themselves and their community. So personally, I'm attempting to chill out a bit, and you can be sure I don't follow the tweets as closely as I used to. Having served in the Department of Justice almost 15 years plus 20 on the Judiciary Committee, I well knew that AGs frequently face difficult choices and decisions, and which almost inevitably creates some controversy. But this very public adventure, I gotta say, exceeded my expectations, I'll tell you. So, I gotta say, I'm proud of President Trump's policy agenda and to have had a part in it. He is driven to succeed, and much of his frustration arises from his inability to move the bureaucracy to achieve what he believes ought to be achieved fast enough. As Kanye West said, he has dragon energy. You know, I think that's a good description of it, really. So I love the Department of Justice, as most of you know, and poured my heart into our work and was pleased to be able to advance the President's policies, which were my policies, and good for America, I believe. Our team has put the Department on a sound course in a host of ways. When I took office, we saw crime rising rapidly after 30 years of declining crime rates. The murder rate just a few years ago had fallen to half what it was in 1981 when I became United States Attorney. And murder rate had dropped by half since 1981. That's a dramatic thing. In 1981, people would have not have believed it if you said we're going to cut the murder rate in half. But when I took office in 2017, we were facing ominous trends. Homicides had risen 12% in 2015, another 8% in 16. That was a stunning, unexpected surge. There was great diversion of prescription opioids and a shocking increase in opioid deaths that hit 72,000 overdose deaths. We'd never, ever seen deaths like that before in this country. And I strongly believe that these trends could not continue and that we could make a difference. President Trump sent us executive orders, back the men and women in blue. That's important. And reduce crime in America. That's a pretty good order. Sessions, reduce crime in America. But we embraced these goals. And I declared repeatedly we would not preside over rising crime, but we would reduce violent crime, which had gone up. We would reduce homicides. We would reduce drug diversion. We would reduce overdose deaths. We were determined to reduce these trends, and that's what we've done. 85% of law officers are state and local. Our strategic plan was to support and partner with them. We publicly and consistently supported local law enforcement and emphasized the vital importance and the morality and decency of the work they do. Look, police are not the problem. Criminals are the problem. Police are the solution to the problem. They are your people. They're hired in every city all over America. They're who we call on to put their lives at risk for us, and we need to honor them. So we increased federal prosecutors and agents, but not at main justice, but out in the field. We chose great U.S. attorneys like Louis Franklin here, an experienced, exceptional prosecutor, Richard Moore in Mobile, J Town in Birmingham, 94 all over the country, fabulously motivated, excited, driven people. Richard and Louis both serve on my 15-person Attorney General's Advisory Committee, and Richard chairs the committee. So we squeezed the budget, added more federal agents, FBI, DEA, ATF, United States Marshals, and we got a great marshal here in Jesse Soroya, if you know Jesse. So we created more federal, state, and local task forces that focused on attacking the most severe local crime problems. And the results came quickly, actually quicker than I expected. Homicides stopped rising and fell in 2017. And the New York Times just reported last week that there will be an even larger decline in homicides this year. Violent crime overall declined again and will fall noticeably this year. We saw a 12% drop in opioid prescriptions. So much of those opioids were abused and sold on the street, and too often we had doctors that were actually corruptly and illegally moving money, pills at great profit. And we've convicted, sadly, over 200 doctors, or charged them in the last year, in 2 years. Overdose deaths have finally beginning to top out and start to go down a little bit. But fentanyl is such a powerful and dangerous drug that if it were to expand dramatically in the United States, I think it'd be hard to see anything other than that the death rate would go up. The Department of Justice is focusing aggressively on fentanyl. And the Congress and the President have put together a $6 billion bill that includes treatment, prevention, as well as support for law enforcement. But most of it will go to Health and Human Services for treatment and that kind of thing. And in a host of other areas, we have been affirming the most important foundation principles of our republic, and that's the rule of law. First, and of monumental importance, the President continues to nominate the best group of highly qualified federal judges ever, in my opinion. These judges understand that they adjudicate under the Constitution. They're not above it, and they know they are to be neutral umpires, as Chief Justice Roberts testified at his hearing. Neutral umpires, not taking sides in the ball game. So we have followed sound legal principles, and we've talked about that a lot. There were 4 pending cases on which we believe the former Justice Department had taken the wrong side. So we switched sides. Some were uneasy about it, but we were convinced it was the right thing to do. And we've won all 4 of those cases in the Supreme Court of the United States. We have defended religious liberty and issued guidelines on all federal agencies, how they should honor and protect the constitutional protection of the free exercise of religion. We defended free speech on campus. Goodness gracious, it's hard to believe the attacks on speech on campuses. We have respected the great principles of federalism. We have eliminated many improper and unnecessary regulations, issued sound legal guidance to government agencies to prevent abuses in the future. We have made clear by my directive that consent decrees are to be undertaken only without a clear justification. When a lawsuit is filed and a federal judge enters into a consent decree and issues an order, it's really at its fundamental nature anti-democratic act, because it takes that entity, that governmental agency, out of the management of local officials and puts it into a judge, really, who's lifetime appointed and not accountable to the public. And the Supreme Court has made clear you should be careful about those things. It got to be too common. In my opinion. And we've modified some that have outlived usefulness and ended some. So we made progress in highlighting the misuse of nationwide injunctions that have gone too far. Has been an abuse, really a judicial usurpation, in my opinion. And these are injunctions issued binding parties not even before the court. And we've taken many actions to limit illegal immigration. So I'm proud of our strong and principled actions to restore the rule of law, to protect public safety. Our United States attorneys and federal agents, I think, are proud too and highly motivated. You can feel their determination and their new spirit. And morale is clearly up among state and local departments all over this country. And I've traveled all over the country visiting United States attorneys' offices. So some of you probably remember hearing me say before that we have the greatest legal system in the history of the world. This government, and especially the Attorney General, must give its best effort every day to uphold and defend this heritage we have been so blessed to receive. To that end, as God has given me the ability, I have been dedicated. I am satisfied our work has met the highest standards. Thank you for your friendship, your understanding, your support, and for allowing me to represent the great people of this fabulous state. I love it, and of the United States. Thank you all. And may God bless America, and God bless this great state and this great city. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you all.